fourth technique in the Kenpo Karate for Christ purple belt curriculum is swinging pendulum. Swinging pendulum is going to introduce a roundhouse as the attack we've done. Up till now we've only used front kick for our kicking attacks. Now we're using a back leg, a right leg roundhouse kick is coming in. So it's making a big arc here, again trying to kick well anywhere on the left side of your body. This one's also going to introduce for the first time kind of starting in a fighting stance here. Rather than just kind of standing and then receiving the attack, this one begins already kind of ready. In a ready position, you begin already with right side forward bow set. This other person here is in a right side forward bow as well, so you're in a closed position, your right side forward, their right side forward, and they throw that back left side roundhouse kick. It's going to come up and around to the side. Now the thing with a roundhouse kick is the direction that you're coming into can change. You can do a roundhouse kick classically, and the way I'll teach it as well is kind of like you're putting your foot on a table and cutting in, making you really turn your hips that way. It's a good way to learn it. Try and keep it as level as you can. But practically speaking, roundhouse kick can also kick upward this way. Or if you get your foot above your knee, you can kick downward with a roundhouse kick as well. So with a roundhouse kick, there's a lot of vectors it could come in on. And sometimes it's hard to tell with somebody who's very good at delivering a roundhouse kick what vector that's coming in until the kick is landing. So what I want to be able to do with this in my first step defensively is be able to cover a larger area. And we're going to use what's called the universal block. And the universal block, the way that will work is, you saw this in, there was a point in the Kung Fu form, Gong Gong Kyun, where we use this universal block position. I'm going to high block with my front hand, in this case my right arm, and that will cover kind of middle of my body and up towards my head. In the event the kick comes that high and level that high, or if it's rising up to that high. The other side is going to do my left arm is going to do a downward block, kind of cover the middle of the body, down, and then past the groin. So I can cover from the groin up to my head, this window, and set up kind of a wall on the whole side of the body that's receiving that attack using both arms together. Inward block with the right, downward block with the left, but I do both at the same time, right? So I'm turning into it this way to cover that whole area. My arms aren't connected in the middle here because it should be that they can close that way if they need to. As they receive it, I kind of bring those elbows together. But as I go to meet the actual technique, the form in my position as that kick's coming is here. So you can see there's a space there. If I need to close that space as I'm receiving the kick, I can. But I don't practice it with that space closed. That kind of makes all of this tight this way. I need to be where my structural frame here is strong. And if I'm closing my shoulders in that much here, I'm shrinking my frame that way to a position that's not really natural. Now you might have enough flexibility that you can bring your elbows together, no trouble. But for me, that kind of squeezes here in the shoulders. So it's fine to have some space because I can collapse that space as I need to when I receive the force of that kick. All right? Again, best block is not to be there at all, to completely dodge it. So I don't want to just boom and try and receive this kick as it's coming in. I want to create this wall of defense. At the same time, I want to be moving out of the way. And in this case, since it's a circular kick, I am going to ride the force. We talked about with our last technique with 5 swords, and we've addressed it before, when the attack is a circular force, you can move forward on that attack on the inside of that arc, and you can kind of shortchange it. But another thing you can do is if the focal point of an attack, something like a roundhouse kick, is directly at 12 o'clock right in front of you, boom, that's where my kick's going to reach its full speed and snap right there. If my attacker moves up that circle here, when my most force was there, there'll be a little bit of carry through, but I'm not going to have the same power over here if the guy's moved over here that I would have when I launched the kick and I was attacking someone who's right here. So after I launch the kick, they move quickly there. Well, by the time my foot reaches that point, it was set from go to have full power at this point. It's losing it past that crack in the whip. And we want to ride the force up to where they're losing some of the force of their kick. So the way this is going to work is not just the universal block, but I want to ride the kick, the force of the kick coming in circular. So I'm going to slide my left foot back around. And I want to be on the 45-degree line. I want my left foot to end up kind of back on this 430 facing the 1030 there on a right neutral bow. So as the kick comes in, I'm not receiving it here where it's at full force. I'm sliding around that way. I'm kind of riding the tail end of that kick's force that way and using this wall as receiving that kick's force. And as soon as we receive the force of the kick, again, the timing on this one. Remember in buckle and branch, we talked about how you don't give them time to put their foot down. We block the leg's still in the air. We've knocked it off its course of where it intended to attack you, but they haven't even had a chance as you knock it away to plant it down, or buckle and branch actually, it's kind of turning you this way. They haven't even had a chance to put it down yet when we return and attack, right? It's like you're stepping on attack, we come up and kick underneath the leg. In the same way, we want the timing of this to be before they have a chance to even set their leg down and start to renegotiate their balance, we're already moving in on the attack. So I'm starting a fighting stance, I come back with this universal block, right, receiving the tail end of that kick, and before they have a chance to even land down and renegotiate their balance, I'm going to slide forward towards them. So I'm moving towards 1030 with a push drag, and I'm going to roll this arm from the inward block to a hammer fist strike to the abdomen. Boom. My other hand's going to come up to a vertical outward block. I'm switching my arms. Universal block position. Right hand high, left hand low. I come left hand high, right hand low. And this is covering, just in case. Right? This is covering my exposed area, which is up here. If this arm goes low, I need to cover something on the high line. So I'm going to slide in. You'll see that a lot. Boom. One arm drops, the other arm's going to come up and cover the space that's open. So I'm covering that space, and I hammer fist to the stomach before they even have a chance to put their foot down. Right? Now I'm moving in. The trickiest part, I think, on this technique are the angles on this, because from the setup, we're on the 45 degree. Then we're going to move forward on that 45 degree towards 1030. Now after you hit them in the stomach, our next move is going to be, again, to slide the left foot back. And we're going to move it back what would be 90 degrees. So if I'm on the 45 towards when we started, the front left corner, when I move my left foot around, I'm going to be on the 45 degree now, facing what was the back left corner here, or facing the 730 line. And my left leg is lined up now at 130. That's actually where we're going to do our full cover out. But as I do that, I am coming flush to how they're standing after they've missed that kick, right? I'm standing directly in front of them, just off center a little bit. They're directly behind me, both facing kind of towards this that back 430 line there, body facing that direction. And from here, I'm going to use that obscure elbow. Right obscure elbow comes right up their body after hitting them in the stomach, rides up and hits them in the chin. Again, the stomach shot bends them down, then that obscure elbow rides straight up, hitting them in the chin. And from there, I'll full cover out. And again, I'm going towards that front diagonal there, or the 130 line. So the whole thing is swinging pendulum, and that's why it's called pendulum, right? The pendulum of the leg coming up here, like a clock, swinging, but we're swinging around to meet it that way. Then you're sliding in. Here's your pendulum attack that way. So, from fighting stance, roundhouse kick comes, I'm coming up and shielding, sliding in hammer fist. I change my angle now on the front 45, and I do an obscure elbow with the right, full cover out, goes towards that 130. One more time, come back a little bit, swinging pendulum. That's technique number 4 for the roundhouse kick in the purple belt Kenpo Karate for Christ curriculum.